Hello my darlings and darklings, welcome back to the Simply Witchery YouTube channel. My name is Lethe and today I am bringing you a side-by-side review and comparison of the two Welcome to Nightvale Tarot decks. This one is the Holloway version, this one is the Hayworth version. The Holloway version is the older one, the Hayworth version is pretty new as of right now. So I'm just going to do a side-by-side review and flip through. They both come in these cute little velvet bags. They match. They're of very similar quality. They probably, I'm assuming, got them from the same place. They feel nice. They're great for storage. They're great for travel. So those are wonderful. Cardstock wise, the Holloway version is a little thicker and I think a little harder to shuffle if you do a bridge shuffle. So I appreciate that about the Hayworth version. The black borders of the Holloway version kind of annoy me. I'm kind of planning to trim this one down soon. It might destroy the back just a little bit, which is upsetting, but it's just such a thick black border that I think I'm just going to trim it down. I do actually, on the other side, on the Hayworth version, I actually like the white border. I think it complements the art really well, so I'm on opposite sides of that end for these two decks. So yeah, I'm just going to get started with the flip through and kind of talk about what I think of these two decks. So with my initial impressions of the Hayworth version of the Welcome to Nightvale Tarot, I think I'm going to like the Hayworth version way more than I like the Holloway version. I like the Holloway version, don't get me wrong. It's going to kind of sound as I go through these that I'm kind of bashing on the Holloway version, and I don't. I just think that the Hayworth version feels more like it was created by a person who knows things about tarot. Not that, like, this isn't a great tarot deck. I just feel like the artwork was created to reflect, like, scenes from the story, from the podcast, more than it was to reflect the imagery of what each tarot card means and represents. So in that respect, I really like the Hayworth deck more because it feels more like a tarot deck and less like just an art book that kind of got made into cards and then had like the names of the cards kind of slapped onto them. Like some of the cards like really make sense in the Holloway version. Like they make sense thematically, art-wise, it makes sense. It just doesn't make as much sense as the Hayworth version, if that makes sense. I just said sense a lot. But anyway, you get what I'm trying to say. Yeah, but they're both okay. This was a really cool choice in the Hayworth deck. I keep wanting to say Hathaway. The Hayworth deck for death. Just a blank card, which I think is so cool. And I'm excited to see how it reads because I'm very big on intuition in my readings and reading through intuition, and so I'm excited to see what intuition brings up when there's just a blank slate. That'll be super interesting. It'll be context with other cards. I think will be very important when I read with that card. Initially, when I first saw that death was just a totally blank, I was like, oh, that's weird. I don't know that I like that. But now, the more I've thought about it, the more I like the idea. Like, these are just both beautiful moon cards. I love them both. Like, the artwork and the imagery of the Holloway version is beautiful. Look at this sun, though, of the Holloway. This might be one of my favorite cards of this deck. Like, oh my god, I love it. That's definitely the favorite sun that I own, for sure. Another thing I really appreciate about the Hayworth version of the deck is that it's like weird and creepy without being overly dark and dramatic. Which there's nothing wrong with liking dark imagery. Like, it totally has its place, especially in the tarot community. But I like weird, and I like creepy, but I'm not a fan of overly dark imagery. And the Holloway version feels very dark. And the Hayworth version manages to be weird and creepy without being dark. And I super appreciate that about that deck. Yeah, I super appreciate that. I'm trying to think about what else I have to say about these decks. I really enjoy them both. I want to like be really clear that I like the Holloway version. It's beautiful, it's cool, it's very welcome to Nightvale. I just think I really like the Hayworth version a lot more. Which I hate to play favorites, but you know, it's my opinion. Oh, this Queen of Wands. I love her. I love her. There's a lot of really cool imagery that I think I'm going to be able to dive deeper in with the Hayworth version of the deck. Oh, that King of Wands. Like, I love them both, but like creepy without the blood. Like, and I appreciate that. I super appreciate that. Oh, I just am in love with this deck. I'm in love with both of them, but the Hayworth version is really just speaking to me in like a deeper way, which I think it's going to be all about preference for people, because they're both great decks, like I said, but it's going to be, I think, a matter of preference on the art style, which art style and imagery you connect with more, how well you know Welcome to Nightvale will also make a difference, because both have Welcome to Nightvale imagery. Like, if you know things about the show, you're going to see things and be like, oh, I know what that is. I know that character or whatever. But the Holloway version 100% has more imagery in the... I feel like it was art made like thinking specifically of scenes from the show. And with the Hathaway version, you don't really have to know Welcome to Nightvale. You're going to get like a deeper understanding of the cards if you do, but I don't think you have to have heard a single episode of the show to like get the full, complete, deep meaning. And I feel like with the Holloway version, you need to be kind of an expert on the show to like really understand it. I think it's a little bit abstract if you don't have that context. So that's something to consider if you're trying to decide which version you want, or if you're trying to decide if you want to add the Hayworth version to your collection if you already have the Holloway version. But like, oh, they're both so beautiful. I really love them both. I do. But, oh, just gorgeous. We're just going to finish the flip through. I think I've said everything I have to say. That Nine of Swords. Like, see, like, when I look at this, I don't think Nine of Swords. This looks like an ace to me, if it's going to be anything. And I think the imagery of the Hayworth deck just makes more sense to my intuition and to my brain. And it's a little more classical Rider-Waite tarot deck, which I appreciate in this stage of my career as a tarot reader. I appreciate having the tradition and then also having the subtle differences that every artist brings to a deck, which creates a new layer and a new level that I can bounce my intuition off of and see what comes up. This Ace of Pentacles too. Love it. Love it, love it. I've always really liked this Two of Pentacles though. So gorgeous. So gorgeous. They're both gorgeous. The Holloway Two of Pentacles is a good one. I'm a fan. We're getting to the end there. We're working on it. this is a good example of kind of what I mean about, like, when I look at this card, I see a 5 of Pentacles. When I look at this card, I don't, like, you'll see a pentacle. Like, if you're paying attention, if you're looking for a 5 of Pentacles, you'll get there because of the 5 lights that are, like, flaring. But you don't, it's not quite as obvious as the Holloway version, or the Hayworth version. The Hayworth version is a little more obviously tarot, and this is more like a pretty picture with, like, subtle, like, things to show you that this is the 5 of Pentacles. And that's also just another preference thing. You really are just gonna have to decide, like, what your preference is there. Because I like being slapped in the face with imagery, especially initially. I want to, the name of the card is very important to me. So if I don't look at something and immediately see, like, oh yeah, that's the 9 of Pentacles, I'm just gonna like it less because that's just my preference. Both of these 10 of Pentacles are gorgeous, but I love this. I love it so much. So yeah, I like to be slapped in the face with my imagery. I don't want to think too hard about what card this is initially, especially if I'm doing an in-person reading. I kind of need to be able to look at the image and know what card it is. Focus, there we go. So I think that's another reason why I like the Hayworth version a little more. Yeah. So this is our last card, our King of Pentacles. So, like I said, to kind of sum up, both beautiful decks, both like very unique. If you have one, you can absolutely get something totally and completely different out of the other. They both have beautiful imagery, beautiful artwork. Their artists clearly put a lot of work into their art. It's all going to be about preference, about how much of the traditional writer white system you want in your cards. Because this one is very traditional and it feels like a deck based on that system. And this one is based on that system as well, but it's not quite so obvious. It's more about getting the scenes from the show into the cards than it is about getting the symbolism of the card's traditional meaning into the artwork, if that makes sense. So if you have the Holloway version and you're thinking about the Hayworth version, do the thing. I'm a fan. I'm glad I have both. This one is definitely going to end up being my favorite. I have no doubt about that between the two of them. But I do like them both. They're both beautiful decks. Yeah. So I hope this helped you kind of make your decision on the Welcome to Nightvale Tarot decks. Let me know if it did down in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time for another video. Bye!